Some actual news. Tatsuya Imai is expected to be the next pitcher from Japan to be posted. Imai is a 27-year-old right-hander with a powerful fastball and good control. He had a 1.92 ERA with 178 strikeouts to just 45 walks. Danny, what more can you tell us about Imai?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. You heard Andy mention the qualifying offer, which when attached to you is often not a great thing. Teams are less interested. He's more alluring. He's not going to have a qualifying offer, right? He's coming over from Japan. So that's number one. Number two is that he's not an ace. He's not going to be a number one. He's going to be a good number two. His fastball, as you said, it can hit 97 up to 99, but he's not going to be a number one for your organization. What I like is he has a multitude of different pitches that he can throw. He played 8 years in Japan, right? His ERA is a 3.15 throughout that time. Really good. I like that. His walk rate has gone down. He struck out 178 guys this year. He's short. He's 5'11", right? So he's not gonna be the guy that's overpowering on the mound, but he has good stuff. He has control. And again, he's gonna be a really good number two type fit. And a lot of teams are gonna be interested. The contract projections are high for him right now, close to $200 million. And if the bidding war gets up there, I do think that it could get around there. But he's gonna be a really solid number two in Major League Baseball.
All right, let's welcome back Andy here from Vegas. Andy, will the Mets have any interest in Imai?
Yeah, they will have interest, and they do have interest. I would expect some conversations there. He's represented by Scott Boras. I would say, though, that this does not shape up to be for the Mets, and we'll see if this plays out the rest of the league. I suspect that it might. Is quite the all-in, pedal to the metal, whatever cliche you want to use for a full pursuit of a player like we saw in the industry with Yoshinobu Yamamoto 2 winters ago. That's when the Yankees and the Mets were so hot on Yamamoto, and, of course, he eventually chose to go out to L.A. instead and has made this huge impact since. This is not a player in Imai who has that same buzz in the industry as Danny was alluding to. I think from some people who are here at the GM meetings, and it's all early and different scouts have different opinions of every player, of course, but I'd say a number two seems like an optimistic high end of what you're hearing here. And there are some questions over, is the fastball going to play in MLB? And if it doesn't, is the off-speed stuff enough for this to work at all as a big league starter? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I guess that's a detailed way to say the Mets will be in. But I don't know that David Stearns and Steve Cohen will be flying to Japan on a red-eye with a special painting like they did for Yamamoto.
All right, Andy, thanks as always. Enjoy the Sphere out there in Vegas. The Athletic, they project Imai to get 8 years, $190 million. It seems like a lot for a guy who hasn't thrown a pitch in the big leagues and different from Yamamoto, to Andy's point. Hannah, yay or nay at that price?
I think nay for the Mets. Now, this is a situation where, like, is there a lot to like there? Absolutely. You mentioned his control, the low ERA. He's been really, really good. And if you could have everybody for free, maybe you'd take him. But this is an opportunity cost question for me when it comes to the Mets, and the question of, are they going to be the team that's the most motivated to get this particular guy? Guys coming over from MPB are a little bit younger than some free agents are when they hit the market. So, but the Mets don't need that. They have great young pitching. Their farm system is looking really good. They're feeling really confident in their pitching lab and the way they're developing pitching. What they need is someone who is proven who can win now. And so this just doesn't feel like the right outlay of 9 figures to get a guy who maybe, you know, can bolster your rotation for years to come. He'll be good if you're good in 3 years. But the Mets need someone who's proven they've done it at the major league level, and they're going to be good next year for the Mets.
Much more of a luxury, too much of a risk for where the Mets are currently at. Not that I wouldn't want them, but it would have to be in addition to 2 other proven guys. Time for some rumors and rumblings. Our pal Will Salmon of The Athletic says that Kodai Senga is generating trade interest. After an impressive rookie season, Senga's barely pitched the last 2 years. He did have a nice statistical start to his season last year before getting hurt in June. You know the play. I don't have to reference it again. JJ, you think it's worth exploring a trade here for Senga at this point, coming off of 2 down years?
You know, I sure do. And normally I don't like to sell players when they're not at their peak, but I almost feel as if you're at a point of no return for Kodai Senga and the New York Mets. All you need to know about Kodai Senga's season just a year ago, when the games mattered the most, we talked about that with Ranger Suarez and how he delivers when the games mattered the most, you had to send Kodai Senga to Syracuse. Does that tell you something? It tells me something. The Mets don't have a lot of faith. They don't have a lot of confidence. And he was not David Stearns' apple of the eye. This is not a guy David Stearns was all in on when he ran the team. This was not a David Stearns signing. I think the Mets are going to cut their losses. I think Kodai Senga is going going to be pitching somewhere else next year.
Could be one of those addition by subtraction situations for Senga and the Mets.
Well, I think the most important thing at this very, very early stage of the offseason to note on Pete Alonso and the Mets, Sal, is that it's just too early to say how this is going to go for either of them. And I feel like there's been this perception over the past couple days that's been coming together of, well, the Mets are going to move on from Alonso. It's not going to work out. And that's just factually inaccurate, wherever kind of that feeling is coming from. And the other thing that's inaccurate is that David Stearns doesn't want Pete Alonso. I think it's just like last year. David Stearns and Steve Cohen are pretty well aligned on wanting Alonso on their team. And they're also well aligned in not wanting a contract that's so long that they feel like it's going to end up being a bad thing for this team that they're in charge of running and making responsible decisions for. So in terms of whether or not that's going to end up with Pete Alonso in a Mets uniform, I guess it's like last year where it's going to depend on, does a Boston, does a Tampa, does a Colorado? I'm just throwing out some potential destinations. Like, does a team like that stretch and offer Pete Alonso 5 years? If that had happened last offseason, Pete Alonso would not have been a Met in 2025. So I guess if it happens again, if it happens this time, not again, if it happens for the first time that a team offers Pete 5 years, he probably goes and plays for that team. But the GM meetings haven't even started yet, meaning the offseason has hardly even begun. So it's just hard to say, oh, Pete's in, he's out. We just have to see how this thing is going to play out. And unfortunately, Sal, to what you understandably want, there's every expectation here that we need to dig in for another long process of Alonso trying to figure out, and Scott Boras trying to figure out what that market is going to be, which, of course, is their right.